questions that you want to ask during the live QA, please raise your hand so that we keep this as simple as possible. So we have 3 people joining us today. I see somebody raising their hands, but not now. I mean, like later when. Unless the question is regarding the recording or something I've said before, just put it in chat so I can take care of that. But if it's about the session.
So this your style is hard though. You said she raised her hand. I said no, she's not raised her hand.
No, not now. If I wasn't clear, not now. Probably after. I mean, what you haven't said anything, and they want to ask you questions. Like they will ask after you said something.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, on probably the person is just checking if they are thumbs up or they are.
Why don't you ask the person?
I can't find the person anymore. Actually, let me see if I can find the person. They put up.
If it's down, then we can continue. But feel free to ask question if you have a question, or put it in chat and we'll answer the question.
So we have Tejumade, who is a graduate student at Saraland University, Ufuoma, who is a software architect at SAP, and Oluwatoyin, who I'll probably be calling Yeti a lot during the session, who is an AI and robotics researcher at University of Lincoln. I would be moderating. My name is Ahmed. So we'll be covering a couple of things. The first one is helping you make that decision, some of the questions that we've gotten around that. Then also funding options. We'll be talking about the study options, and we'll be talking about the abroad student life generally. So I'm going to start with Yeti. So around making the decision, how and when did you decide that you needed a graduate degree? How did you make that decision? What did you consider?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, so we can hear you.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Do you want me to do a brief introduction?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. Hello everyone. For a brief background about me, I had my bachelor's in computer science at University of Ilorin in Nigeria, and I worked as a software developer at Andela for a few years before I decided to go for my master's degree. So how was because I was working my own desire to go into AI didn't start from, I started as a software engineer and then I decided to consider AI. AI has been my thing from onset, even before I graduated for my bachelor's degree. But I knew like the path to become an AI developer and all of that would also involve some coding and having some, idea about software development to an extent. So I knew it was time when I felt like I had spent a significant amount of time and experience, gathering coding experience in software development. So at my 3rd year at Andela, I started looking out for how I can start going into the space of AI. And yes, I did consider an alternative to master's degree. I considered a nano degree from Audacity, which I did. I did a machine learning nano degree at that time, but I discovered it was not enough because I thought, after the nano degree, I can just start applying for jobs. That was my case anyway, because some people may do that or may not even do that and get jobs. But for me, I did the machine learning nano degree and jobs were still not coming forth at that time. So I decided, okay, I think probably my skill set are not enough, and how I can go for it is to go for a master's degree. So how did I settle on my choice of school? It was a matter of, I don't have money, but I want a quality education. So that was just the basic, and I also didn't have energy. I was working a full-time job, so I was not even prepared to start writing IELTS or TOEFL or GRE. I made up my mind, this is not the route I'm going to go through, because I was not ready to waste money to go for an exam that I know that with my full-time job, I won't have time for that. So those were the factors that kind of helped me settle on my school of choice. Yeah.
Thanks, Yeti. I think while we're taking this question from all the panelists, would allow them give a brief introduction and lead onto how and how and when did they decide that they needed a graduate degree? So, Teju.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Tejumade Afonja, and I'm just going to follow Yeti's template. I studied mechanical engineering at Ladoke Akintola University of Technology. Also, just like Yeti, in my second year, I knew that I wanted more than mechanical engineering. I was interested in thinking machine. I think I was stuck with this idea of can machine really think? And that kind of uh, like I followed through with that all through my mechanical engineering. I didn't have coding skills, of course. It was not a priority for my degree, but I knew that in order for me to be successful in this field, I needed to gain this skill set. So after my undergraduate, I interned for a while with like my friend's startup. I was learning to code, I was learning Python, all those stuff. And I also had friends who were also like had similar interests. So it was quite encouraging to ask them questions as to what they are learning, what they think I need, and also doing some research of my own. And the journey is summer, but I will try to keep it brief. Yeah, at some point I was working as a front end developer, and then at some point I did consider to not really. I've always liked books. So I've always knew that I wanted a master's degree. So there was no question as to whether or not. It was a question of what do I want to do a master's in. So when I settled for machine learning, I started looking at programs that had a bit of machine learning for a while, because I had my undergraduate studies in mechanical engineering. Yes, this was the toughest part. I was looking for a program that has mechanical engineering with some kiniko artificial intelligence, with some, so I was just merry-go-rounding, applying to schools, getting rejected, not trying to settle for just doing computer science because people said I was moving away from my field, putting things together, all those indecisiveness. But at some point, I found this program, Zalan University, because at that time my friend was in Germany. She started her master's, and she wanted me to also come. So it was actually like I applied to Germany because I had my friend there. She did almost most of the research. We were like looking for schools, and it's like, oh, Teju, you should apply to this. I was mostly focused on Canadian schools. I was naive. You thought US, Canada, all those kind of things, but they did not take me. So anyway, I joke too much. I'm a playful person, but to be much more serious, I applied to some German schools. It was very like I didn't even know that there exist things like free tuition. So because my friend was here and she had her own school was free tuition, we started looking at schools from DAAD that are free tuition, and I saw Zaland University because it also has machine learning. Then I was obsessed with not really obsessed as in obsessed, like there's a professor in Zaland University at that point, like that Professor Ben Chile that does machine learning. So that was actually why I applied to Zaland, and unfortunately it's not there anymore, but yeah, I digress. So how did I settle on the school of choice? That was how I settled on this school of choice. I applied to, I was interested in machine learning, and I was looking for a program that had machine learning in it, and computer science has that in most schools in Europe. So I applied to a couple of schools. I got rejected because my background is mechanical engineering. I was lucky to get accepted into Zaland University. And here I am. I deferred the admission for a year, and then I started the following year. So did I consider alternative to masters? Not really. I mean, I co-founded a community called AI Sister Lagos, where we teach machine learning, but I knew that I wanted this rigor, and I needed to advance. I was not at that point where my knowledge, my understanding was strong enough, and I was moving very fast in my career. So I knew that I needed that sort of like rigor. So I master's was just a natural choice for me. And yep, I think I mentioned a couple of things, but yeah, that's what you get with me.
Thanks, Sergio. Yeah,
Okay.
so the similar thing here is the need for more experience based on what you've started out with, considering you and Yeti. Ufuoma, how was it for you?
Okay, hi everyone. So Ufuoma here. Thanks, Ahmed. So, well, for me, yeah, my story was really haphazard, so to speak. Yeah, so I studied electrical engineering in UNIBEN, University of Benin. That's where I did my undergraduate degrees. Then, after I graduated from school, I started working. Well, it was kind of random. I didn't want to work in IT or anything like that. I actually wanted to work in something that had to do with maybe control systems or instrumentation or something like this. Yeah, but I didn't get the job I wanted, right? So the first job I got was in IT. So I was working as a system administrator, even though I didn't know so much about what that meant at the time. Then I dabbled a bit into networking. Then, yeah, I did some work around telecoms in general. Then I started doing software development, right? At the time, I didn't know so much about software development, and I felt I was being like drawn away, further and further from what I really wanted to do at the time. And yeah, so it was around that time that someone told me about a university in Abuja then, and they were offering like a master's degree program in computer science, right? And it was on scholarship. Okay, they were giving scholarship to some students. So I decided to try it out. And I tried. Well, I was fortunate. Yeah, I got the scholarship. Okay. Then I said, seems this is the path. Yeah, then I took it. Then I started studying there. Then in between, I met a lot of really nice students there that motivated me a lot. And some professors that were coming from maybe Europe and America. And then I got a chance to go with one of these professors to France. So I did part of my studies in France. And then I started getting interested genuinely now in computer science. And yeah, then I also interested in research, right? Then I wanted more. Then I mean, at the time I felt like I didn't know so much about what I was doing. And yeah, and I wanted more. Then I started looking at other opportunities like for like advanced graduate studies, right? So, well, since I was already in France, the obvious place for me to go was in France. was to go back to France. Then I got accepted into a university in France. Yeah, but the problem was I didn't have the funds, right? Then I started searching for funds. Yeah, this was what I was doing, like looking for scholarship for this particular university, but it wasn't forthcoming. Yeah, but so then I started applying randomly, really. So at first it was random. I didn't really go out searching for a particular university. Then I saw some universities, I think some in Luxembourg. There's one particular in Luxembourg. I applied to a university in Switzerland. Then I applied to university in Germany, in Saarland. I got accepted in one of the universities in Switzerland. Yeah, but it wasn't what I wanted. I mean, they were going to give me a kind of fellowship for 6 months with the possibility of starting maybe a graduate degree program afterwards, but it wasn't sure. At the same time, I got an admission in Saarland, the same university that Teju is in. And it was like, okay, yeah, scholarship. Well, I wasn't expecting that. Then, well, I just took it. I accepted it. I was like, okay, I try it out and see how it goes. Then, in between, yeah, I started studying. Yeah, I started getting more interested in research. But at the same time, I also wanted to work in the industry. So I decided to try out the fellowship, which was like in Switzerland, which was eventually an internship. Then I realized I really liked it. Yeah. So instead of 6 months, I did the fellowship for like 3 months. And then I went back to Germany to continue my studies. Then afterwards, again, during my studies, I did another internship with another company. And then, well, I realized at that time that, okay, maybe research is not what I need, what I want. And I really liked working in the industry. So
I realized that the money was good.
not just the money. I think it was, yeah, it was more than, the money was part of it, yeah, but it's not the only thing. Yeah, I really liked the work I was doing then. So I decided to settle for working in the industry. Then, so I decided to wrap up my studies quickly as I could. Yeah, I was fortunate to get a job afterwards. So I started working as a software developer. And yeah, so that's what I'm still doing today. I'm working as an architect in the same company. So yes, I did consider some alternatives to master degree. Initially, when I was working in IT, I thought about doing some certification, not really because I thought it through. I think it was just what a lot of persons were doing really at the time. And I mean, the story was that, okay, if you get this certification, then maybe you get a better job, or you know more, you can do more. So this was my motivation really at the time. So I did a lot of Microsoft certification, Cisco certification. I mean, a lot of completely unrelated certifications from databases, project management. I did everything. Yeah, but I realized at some point it was not really what I needed. It wasn't really what I wanted. I already talked about how I settled on my choice of school. It was, yeah, it wasn't planned really. It was just trying out different things. Like then eventually I settled on one that worked out.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's a common theme, which is having some work experience before getting this admission in one way or the other. I'm going to start with Teju here. Did your work experience, did it help you in getting your admission? Would you say it was a factor in getting your graduate degree admission?
How would I know now? I'm not part of the people that did it. Anyway, I'm not, I think definitely in my SOP, I must have like portrayed some really good, like maybe written some really nice SOP for that. But to be honest, at that time when I applied to Zaland, I wasn't even working as a machine learning engineer then. I didn't have the job. I was still doing front-end development, and I just started AISSD Lagos. I just started community. So I would not exactly say my work experience up in getting that. I don't know what else, but I do know that I applied to 2 different programs in Zaland University. And then I got into the computer science program and I got rejected for the visual computing. So I can't say for sure what got me in. It could have been my grades, for my mechanical engineering, because I finished with first class. It could have been some of the experiences I had in machine learning. It could have been anything. I really cannot say for sure what got me into Zaland.
Okay. Yeti, what would you, the question is, did your work experience help in getting an admission?
Oh, yes, it did. For me, I had a tutu. I was at the, all this Isale. Sorry for those that are not from my tribe, but it means like when you're like at the bottom, you're not even 50% of of the top class people. But yeah, I think my own journey is, I like the fact that we have diverse people, because I know diverse set of panelists, because I know we have diverse set of people. Not everyone will be expected that, oh, they have very good results. And I'm not underplaying good results. I actually, finished with a distinction in my master's. So it's just to say, it's not like it's a good thing that, yeah, I can just have low grades. I'm not trying to portray that, but I think my work experience covered up for me, because part of the short story I told earlier is that I actually also did random. I even paid for some admission fee. I applied to New Zealand, Australia, Canada. The only place I didn't apply to was US, because I didn't write GRE or TOEFL. I applied to Finland, Norway, all UK, everywhere you can, they are sure accepting me. I applied there, and all of them were saying no. I should actually highlight these. So many of them rejected me, and some of them gave me reasons that it was because of my what was that, the result of my bachelor's. But one thing that stood out with this university that I eventually went for, which is where I finished my master's, is that they usually conduct an interview for their prospective master students. So I submitted my application as usual, and they called me up for an interview. And to be honest, they asked me questions that are, so they knew I was from computer science background, even though I was going to study AI and robotics, but the professor asked me questions about like binary search, things that, you know, concept that I was familiar with, of course. So they did an interview and all of that. And I think it was the work experience, because when I eventually got to class, I got to know that almost 90% of the people in my class were first class students. So it was just very evident that yeah, so it was just very evident that my work experience and the fact that, you know, they called me for that interview and they saw that, yeah, I know my, like I was true to the CV that they saw and the statement of purpose and all of that. They gave me the admission. So yeah, I thank God for that. So yeah, the work experience helped. I can't even lie about it. Yeah.
I mean that's really good. Ufuoma, you mentioned you did a number of certifications when you were trying to figure out what the next step was. Did you think that helped in your admission process? Did any of that come into play?
No, I didn't think that helped because I didn't even include them in my my application. But what did help me at least was that I had some experience in research. At the time I was applying to a university that was like the graduate program was centered around research. So I did a bit of research. So this really helped. Yeah, but at the same time, as Teju said, yeah, grades also help, right? Because then, as Yeti also said, experience helps in general. So you should think about it like how the recruiters for this process, how they make their decisions, right? So they want students that they know would succeed, right? So you have to demonstrate to them that you would succeed in the studies. So you can demonstrate this in various ways. You can demonstrate this by experience or by grades. That okay, you have grit, you can work hard and succeed. Because at the end of the day, the recruiters are judged based on this. So it's in their interest to select students that will succeed, because this justifies like they are doing their work well. Yeah. So anyway, anything you can show to the recruiters that okay, yeah, this will help me succeed. Yeah, always helps.
Yeah, I guess that's a very good way to think about it, right? If you think about how you can show that you can succeed at whatever program they admit you into, which is really good. So now on to funding options, right? So this is a question for everyone on the panel, and we might spend some time on this, talking about what funding options did you consider. I know people generally, I mean, the first thing when people think about when it comes to masters is how much do I have in my bank account, or how much does my dad have, or how much does my mom have, or do I have a sponsor, right? Then they start thinking about, okay, if I don't have money, or what are the opportunities that are there? What are the options that are there? Scholarships. Some people might think, oh, I'm not that brilliant enough to get scholarship, right? It's only for the top 1% that gets out of uni, right? Then they might start looking at loans. I've heard people talk about loans as well. So based on your different experiences, I'm going to start with you, Ufuoma. What funding options did you consider when you were applying for your graduate degree program?
Okay. I come from a very rich family. So of course, that's a joke. Even my name is a joke. My last name means king of money, but it's exactly the exact opposite. Yeah. So as I said earlier on, I was fortunate in my case actually. So I got a scholarship, and so that really helped because I couldn't see any other way, right? So I didn't have enough savings. I couldn't afford it, and my parents were not going to afford it. I couldn't place that demand on them. So for me, this was the way, right? Yeah, but at the same time, I've seen, as you already mentioned, there are a lot of funding options. I'm sure Teju and Yeti we talk about some of them. So for example, you can, even if you don't have a scholarship, right? You can, if you have some money, well, you can demonstrate again that you can fund it, even though you don't have the money yourself. You can demonstrate that you have the backing from someone that can fund it. Then this also helps, right? But I guess we'll talk about specifics later.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to see if there were additional options, because the next question was going to be about how did you actually fund your program. So let's talk about the options you considered before talking about which did you actually use to fund your program. So Teju, what were the options that you considered?
Yeah, it's just like everyone. When I was applying to Canadian schools, there was absolutely no way I could afford that. So I was looking for scholarships and everything. But for German school, it was different, because I narrowed my search to schools that does not have, like, I don't have to pay tuition, and all I had to pay was 286 euros, right? So the only question would have been, how do I even get this compulsory money in my bank account to get into? So because I had a friend who was here, so I also kind of like saw that it's possible, and I knew how she went about that. So it gave me some like hope, like maybe I could do this. So I did not have any funding at that time. I didn't have scholarship. It was afterwards that, like, when Yeti got this scholarship, which is Women in Tech, that's how you should have, amazing people around though. So when she got the scholarship, I was like, maybe me too, I can apply, or maybe I can get it though. I did not think I would get it. I said maybe, but I also got the funding, which was, it came later. I was already like in my finishing my second semester. So it was not before I came to Europe. So yeah, that was the case for me. I looked at scholarship, but I didn't see, like, I did not get any scholarship, which was like to get into school or something. So I mean, the school did not even accept me. How do you even get scholarship? But anyway, that's another question.
Yeti, what were the options you considered?
I started with savings in my own case, because I had worked for a while. I had also gotten some out of school kind of scholarship. So I had quite a number. I'm not from a rich family as well, but okay, I'm from a wealthy family. Let's say, say the things that are not as they are. Yeah, I'm from a wealthy family. It's not only rich in currency, but it was more of my savings over the years that I've worked, and that was my first choice. Secondly, I also considered the fact that the worst case I can pay for my tuition fee in Italy for my university was 1,000 euros. So I knew that I could fund that sort of. Then thirdly, I also knew that there were scholarships that were not based on merits in Italy. So there is this Italian government funding that they call Right to Study. That is the English name anyway, but yeah, it's called Right to Study, and it is something about everybody has the right to study, even if you're not even their citizen. You have the right to study if you want to study. So it's not about, they don't look at your grade. It's not academic based. So I knew that, okay, someone like me that has a 2-2, and I know what admission showed me Pepe before. So I knew that they don't even give me admission for this. Is it now the scholarship that people like first class are competing for that I want to get? So I was also thinking about non-academic merit-based scholarships, and Italian government provide that. So, and I found out that the documentation that they would need is how poor you are. So you just need to tell them that, see, I live in a hut. Of course, I'm exaggerating. I live in a hut. We are very poor. My father has just one cow.
Help my life. Help
my life, kind of. Actually, the students that get the scholarship most is usually Indian students and students from Africa. Is almost like automatic, you're going to get it. And the scholarship is usually, it comes with accommodation. So they accommodate you and they give you like a yearly, I think it's about, so I didn't apply for that anyway, but it's about 1,200 euros per year that they give you for your feeding, and they accommodate you as well. And that's for your first year. After your first year, if you want to renew that scholarship, you only need to have passed 30 credits of out of your entire credit. So it's an an automatic thing. It's something that you don't have to start saying, oh, do I qualify? You qualify if you can. You just need to, there are some documentation you do in Nigeria. And of course, they know that people from Nigeria, you already know that we are not that. So it's more like it's automatic. So those were the things. Although I didn't know know all these things at the time that I applied to this university, and it was just me random. And it was after I got the admission, I started looking for people who were there. And, I was actually very shocked to find out that, even that 1,000 euros that I can pay can be slashed to about, so my school fees for my entire period was 186 euros per year. So that's what I ended up paying per year for my school fees, even though I didn't even get that scholarship. So it's more like it's automatic if you get the admission in any of those. It's not all universities in Italy because they are private universities, but so far as government owned, you have the right to study. And that was also something that I considered when I went for like what funding options are available.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a mix of targeting places with low fees within the EU, combining that with places with government that provides government support, then also places where you could actually network to find out a lot of this information that could help you in the program. I mean, Yetunde, you started talking about how you funded your graduate program. Is there anything you wanted to add to that? Because you talked about the school fees. Are there any other things that came into play in funding the program?
Yeah, but I also got the Women Technical Scholarship. So that was why I couldn't apply for the Italian government one, because you should not have a scholarship before you apply for that one you get. So, but I had friends, I had colleagues. It's more like it's just automatic. Like that scholarship is, they dish it out to over 10,000 students. It's just very, very, very straightforward. So, but those were then friends too. Like it got to a point I didn't have money again. It's good to have good friends, like Teju said. So friends were the ones sending money for my upkeep at some point, because of course those money, the money finished at a particular point, because I stretched my master's more than the usual period. So yeah, when you have loyal friends.
Quick to finish your...
What?
The money quick to finish.
Yeah, so that money finished. But yeah, like I said, like the Italian, if you get into an Italian university, there is the right to study scholarship, and they will even tell you, it's not something that you have to find out. I see someone asking for the link. You have to get the admission first. That's the thing. You have to get admission, and your admission master will actually tell you. It's an automatic thing. They'll tell you that, oh, we have this scholarship available. And like I said, the documentation, you get it from Nigeria, and it's just about saying you have one cow, you don't have a land in your house, and all those things.
Okay, I mean that's quite good. I can see somebody asking for the link already, which Teju already provided.
Thank you, Teju.
No worries.
So, Teju, you started. You were talking about your options. So talking about the program itself.
Yeah. So again,
funding it.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Ahmed. So what happened was that when I got the admission in 2018, see, there was no money anywhere. There's no even plan to get money at that time. So I just used fate to defer the admission. Maybe at some point I'll get a school with scholarship and whatnot. And so, but that was not forthcoming. But as God is always very faithful, just a few months after I got this job, which was well-paying job. So by the time I decided to pick up this admission again, I had some funds. So I'd already saved up a lot of money. And then so I only needed like a few more, to offset the cost. It was not too much. So it's like the bulk of the money that I needed because before you can get the visa for EU, especially, you need to have some money in your blocked accounts. That was the route I went with. There are other options too, but my route was that I needed to have some money in my blocked account, which was some 10,000 euros or so in the blocked account. Not also, the money is plenty. But yeah, so that was how I had some money, and then some friends also helped with some cash, which I paid back later when I started getting they released the every month, the block accounts will release like about 800 euros for you. For that would last you for 1 year. So you're expected to have about 10,000 euros in your account for 1 year, so that they can be sure that you will not be, you'll not be a nuisance. You're not paying for school fees and everything, but they want to make sure that at least you can pay for your apartment, you can pay for your health insurance. So maybe I mentioned there's some like very compulsory costs. Like you have to, at least you need to have accommodation. Maybe you're living with someone or something, but you need to have accommodation for it's tied to a lot of things you do, and you need to have insurance. So those two costs, it's something that's a running cost, monthly running cost, apart from your own upkeep and everything. So that's what the fund is for. And how I funded, how did you fund your graduate program is just personal funds. I started with personal funds. Then I got a scholarship, which is from the Women Tech Makers, the same scholarship Yeti got. And in my second semester, I also got internship, which was also paid. And in my fourth semester, the past few months, I also got like some EV jobs, like we call it's called student assistant job. So we call it EV here, which you get paid in like stipend, but not really stipend. So I had some fund at every point when I was about to run out of money. My brain will work small. It's like, can I find money again? So that was my own case. I mean, that's my case because I'm still in school, and I'll still need money, and I'm still going to start applying for opportunities to get money.
Yeah, so it sounds like a combination of personal funds, then also the scholarship you talked about from Women Tech Makers, then also you did mention internships, right? Paid internships, is that correct?
Yes, sorry, I was reading the charts. I did paid internship during my second semester. I was fortunate to get I linked up. Do we want to go into that right now, or you're still going to ask later?
I mean, yeah, we should talk about it if it's part of the
okay. So here's the thing. I got connected to a professor in the University of Toronto through one of my mentors, because I'm interested in the research. And then my mentor was like, yeah, there's this professor that she is amazing, that maybe I would be interested in interning. I didn't even know that there was an option for doing something like graduate school, like you can exchange program. That I knew that within Europe you can do that, but I did not know that you can go from like Germany to like Canada. And the irony was that I applied to University of Toronto. Or maybe I almost applied, or I applied, I didn't get accepted. Like just that was a long time ago. But so I connected with Professor Pepernot, and we had conversation, and he was like, oh, so when would you like to start internship? I was like, oh, it's possible to do an internship. So we started the preparation, and then the university sent me an admission letter, so I had to be a student of University of Toronto during the summer for me to, like, it's an exchange program. So from my university to the university that I am going to be visiting. So it's called a student visiting program. You can look it up. So I applied to that. I got accepted. I mean, I didn't really apply to that because, it's from my supervisor, right? That he already accepted me. And then I got admitted into this school as well. And I could not go to Canada. I was supposed to visit for the summer, but that was when Corona started. So I couldn't visit. So I ended up doing the internship remotely for the summer, and it's a paid internship as well. And the moral of the story is that I have University of Toronto admission. That's it. I will look at the admissions like, okay, yeah.
Okay,
I'm just saying that, the thing you don't know.
So I mean, to recap, looking from Yeti's story, it sounds like one option is government funding, right? Looking at places where the government would subsidize your schooling, and also looking at Teju's story is looking for opportunities even after you've gotten in, right? To be able to cut your costs down by looking at things like this exchange programs, right? Or student jobs that are available. Ufuoma, how did you fund your graduate program?
Okay, so mine was mostly a mixture of the scholarship I had, and I also worked as a student. Yeah, so working as a student is actually very common in Europe. Yeah, so I got the chance to work with a professor, just assisting him, basically doing anything he wants me to do. And yeah, then for this I got some like I was paid monthly for this.
Now, when you're working as a student, how much of that money can you actually cover your costs as a student?
Mhm. So it's okay. So when I worked as a student, I didn't work so many hours. So I think I got in total like 450 euros or something like this. Then of course that was not enough. Yeah, but I could work longer hours. So the minimum wage in Germany is like 9.5 euros, or you can even get more, depends on the level of skill they require for the job. And you can work around, say, 20 hours in a week. Of course, there's a maximum number of hours you can work. So if you do the math, then yeah, you can get more, right? So, but at the time, I didn't want to work so much. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So, so you talked about savings before moving, and Yeti also talked about savings as well. How much savings do you think, or would you advise anyone to have before they begin their program, regardless of the scholarship they have or the funding opportunities that are available in their destination countries? What would you say? I'm going to start with Yeti.
Sorry, I was typing. I'm sorry.
I'm not going to repeat my question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was
I was
asking
trying to
about,
respond to a chat. How much savings did you need to have? How much savings did I have? I actually had quite a lot of savings that could cover all my.
if you could put a range.
So the visa process is one thing. The thing is, so I don't want to use my own because I feel like it may discourage people, but I had a classmate who came with about 2,000 euros only. Yeah. So, but in terms of the admission, of course, you may need more than that. But I mean, you can pull from people, that thing of gather money to your account to say, or find somebody who bear your surname to sponsor you for the visa. But aside that, when you are coming by yourself, I had someone who came with just 2,000 euros, and the right to study scholarship that I mentioned is what they got afterwards, and yeah, that's it. So I think that's a benchmark.
Teju, what would you recommend as a savings range for somebody who's looking to?
Yeah. So maybe I start with this thing for EU, especially. There are different options. You can check out the options for EU. You can either have about 10,000 euros, I think, proof of funding in your account, in your blocked account, or you have like letter of commitment of proof from your parents. Like there are like 4 to 5 different options, I think. So if you don't have all these other one, then the only reason they will give you a visa is if you have the fund. And I went through the route of having a like some fixed money in my blocked account. Well, I have to say, I mentioned earlier that I had saved us some cash, but I also had friends who borrowed me money, to be honest, and I also have friends who gave me money. But the thing is that I have a friend that came to study here. When she came here, she did not have the funds. She borrowed the money actually, but I'm not going to gloss over this. It was not very easy for her. Like you think that every month you can just save some money and just, you just return the money. One has to be very realistic. Of course, you can save off some part of the money, but when you come here, before you know it, 10 euros, 20 euros, 50 euros, you're just paying the money and the money finishes. So you have to also think about how do you sustain yourself, like from getting a job, like all those jobs and whatnot. And the system here has made sure that you are able to have like a student's job and still able to study. So as a student, there's a maximum number of hours that you can work for. For example, when I studied as a, like when I did my EV, like my student assistant job, I can only work for 19 hours per week. And that's about 3.5 hours per day. So, and that's it. And I can decide that I'm working for less. I'm paid based on the number of hours that I work. It's not like by the end of the month, this is exactly what you get. So I'm just saying that don't get discouraged by, I mean, I'm saying 10,000 euros. If you ask me in 2018, like where do I even find that 10,000? It's not even possible. But if you put it in mind, and maybe if you had someone or like you're able to have this proof of funding, you get what I'm trying to say. Then you can also already from where you have find opportunities. Like how do you sustain yourself? Like your studies might get longer than you have said. Like, I mean, my fourth semester and I still have like one or two, I mean, God forbid two, but you know, I still have some courses, some debts. I'm not going to gloss over it. The thing is hard, you know, like, so it might take more than 2 years that is there, that especially you're thinking of money, you're thinking of how do I get these skills? You don't want to finish school and you just still not know anything. So you have to be doing all of those together with all the lifestyle you have. And the knowledge is not the same from what you have wherever school. I don't know, maybe you are brilliant, more brilliant than I am, but it didn't take a long time. I'm just trying to be very realistic here. So try to, as you're starting your study, you're also looking for opportunities, and it's you can, you know, it's not going to be one try. You have to try a lot of things, but that's why we are here to motivate. Just like, don't get discouraged. Like, yes, you do need money, but it's not it's something that once you put your mind to it, and then when you start working towards it, like, God is merciful. You just don't know where all of these things come together once you start saying that I want this, and you know. Yes, that's my motivation talk. Just to...
Talking about knowing where all of this come together. I know Yeti has started sharing some resources about where to find some of these opportunities in Italy. So I'm gonna start with Ufuoma. Do you have anywhere that people can generally go check up for those opportunities that may be helpful, especially since you talked about scholarship? Then I'm also gonna ask Tejo and Yeti to share as well. I think Yeti has started sharing, so I'm probably not gonna ask her. So Ufuoma.
So in Germany, which I'm more familiar with, at least the go-to place is the DAD website, right? So they try to compile a list of available scholarships that are, that you can get in Germany. Yeah, but another source that a lot of people overlook is the universities themselves. So if you go to most university websites, right, where if you browse through the admission categories, you always find some information about scholarships. And some of those scholarships could be unique to the university, right? So for example, in my case, I didn't get a scholarship from DAD. I got a scholarship directly from the university. So the university were offering a scholarship for some particular kind of graduate degree program, which was specific for that case. And yeah, a lot of universities offer these things. So instead of just, for example, googling around looking for scholarship, you can go to particular universities and look at their options for funding. Yeah, this is for me like the best approach.
Tejo, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I just shared some links. Definitely, the approach is to go to your university. They always have a link. For Zaland University, I shared the link. There is a Studium Study Scholarship you can check out. Zaland is amazing. There's a lot of opportunities in the university. Like there are like research. It's the house or home of research. Like a lot of research institutions are within the university. So they always have internship that you can apply to, and there's also a page where there are different job posting you can apply to as a student. So there's also the like this Erasmus intern, which also there are like job posting there as well. And you know, once you start like looking at all of this, I think you would always find something. It's like if you like depending on what the DA did as well, like is one of the like that is like the resource for anyone that wants to come to Germany, right? Because it has a compilation of all of this. It has a database, right, of all of this scholarship. And yeah, I think another one is I wanted to mention. Is that all? Yeah, maybe if it comes to mind, I would mention it. There's probably more things I want to say, but I think I forgot.
Okay. In case you haven't seen any of them, Ufuoma has posted some links on the chat as well as Yeti, and I think Teju actually posted some of them as well. So it'll be good to check those out. We're starting to run out of time, but we still have 3 questions to cover. The first one is, where is my slide? Okay. So it's about, student life, right? When you get in, how do you support yourself as a student? I think we've talked about this briefly. Teju talked about some student jobs and also internships. Yeti talked about looking for government-sponsored opportunities that are available there, as well as Ufuoma talking about internships and available student jobs as well. So I think I'm going to skip past that. Now, practical tips that helped you keep your living costs low. Because, a huge part of your study is your living cost, right? How much it takes to get a cup of coffee, how much it takes to transport yourself, right? I'm going to start with you, Yeti. Practical tips to help get your living costs low.
I think I was a premium student. It's a premium. So I'm not even sure if I qualify to say, practical tips that help. But I don't know. Did I keep my living cost low? I think I just spent money anyhow. I won't come and do aspire to perspire. I think I spent money out, but okay, let me try and see. But that was because, I just knew that any which way, I know fit poor. This money I must get it. Like I will have money. So I just, I didn't really keep my costs low, to be honest. And because I have like a lot of savings as well and support from friends. But I think practical tips could be, I know in Germany there's the block account one where they're just giving you the money little by little. But I think for someone who don't even have much, the best way that I try to save when I actually want to save is that I create an account, a bank account where I put my money there, and I don't have, how do I put it? I just do like a monthly kind of release from that account to the one where I can have the bank. So that's what I'm actually even doing as someone who is working, because I know I can go out of proportion sometimes. So there are bank accounts that you can open a bank account to put your money in there. And in a way, you know that, okay, every month, this is actually at a point I was cutting my cost, and how I did that was, so for every month when it comes, I don't really eat outside. I cook most of my meals. So I try to like say, okay, for every month, I'm not going to spend more than 70 euros. And so for that month, when I bring that 70 euros, I go to the market and buy my foodstuffs, and I know that I'm done for that month. But yeah, I think those are, to be honest, I didn't really live on a very low budget. But of course, I know people who did, and this was one of the ways that you just have to be very disciplined, to be honest, because what may work for me may not work for you. So it's just about discipline and knowing that, see, I don't have money that is coming from everywhere. I mean, if you know that one, that they will fling because abroad it's not like you now say, oh, let me go and stay with Yatem, all those things. There's nothing like that. You are literally on your own. So by the time you have that mindset, you know, and you know that this is what I have. I think by default you start learning how to save your money and live low. Yeah.
I think that's helpful, actually. You said you didn't have tips, and you shared like 2 or 3 already in that answer. Teju, how are you keeping your cost low?
Yes. I thought you would not ask me. I was going to fight. So, anyway, so I'll give you my breakdown. My living cost is that every month there is a cost I cannot do without. I have to pay my rent it's even one of the cheapest, because my university is a small town in Zaland, so my rent only costs 260. Maybe it's too expensive for some people, but it costs 260 euros, and I was told that it's like one of the cheapest thing you can get here. So, and then I have to pay insurance every month, which is 116 euros for the insurance that I'm working, the TK insurance. So in a month, I have this cost of 370 or 380 that I cannot do without. Like, otherwise, they have to send me back to Nigeria. I don't want to go yet. So, and then the question is that now grocery shopping, it depends on you. So I eat a lot of fruit and everything, so I buy a lot of all of those stuff. So sometimes it varies, but let's say you're like, you really need to save money, so you're very, very conscious about this. You can say budget 15 euros per week for grocery, right? So let's say multiply by 10 by 5 weeks for a month, you're probably budgeting around, let's say 50 euros for it's most likely will be more than that. let's even say you're really, really serious about keeping a low cost, then you have like 50 euros for grocery, plus about 400 euros that you have. Like, in a month, you're spending roughly 500 euros that you don't have control over. So if you had that blocked account, they were going to release 800 euros to you every month, and that would last you for 1 year. Let's say every month you were able to keep 350 euros. You are really, really serious about money, you can keep it. But remember, you would also need to pay your semester fee, which is about 286 euros. So like, you have to factor that in as well. But I'm trying to help you keep a mental view as like, how much exactly can you save from that your blocked account money? It's not a lot if you think about it. So you have to start thinking about like, how do you get a job to sustain yourself, right? As like, I have to be very honest, as my blocked account was about to be finishing, my head was already thinking, my God, my life, where will I find money now? So like, I had this spreadsheet, I was looking at my cost. Like, I used to buy a lot of books, like, now we cannot buy a book again. Like, they will send me back to Nigeria. So I was keeping my monthly cost and trying to like keep it lean, but I'm not the best. I'm not even like Yetsu said, like, I still like, there's still a lot of cost that I think I made, but like, I mean, it's because I prioritize buying books, and then so I cannot even lie about that. But you don't have to. You like, all of this is an extra thing. Like, if you really need to save money, then that's not a practical tip. So as I was saying, is that you can at least know that you would spend about 500 euros every month, about that, depending on like your cost and everything. And I think the way you can do it is just keep a spreadsheet. It can help you become sane. Like, whenever I feel stressed about how much I'm spending, I go back to my accounts, I look at the months, and then I put it down. Because the thing about here is that 10 euro, 12 euro, 2 euro, 5 euro, this thing, before you accumulate it, is plenty euros. Like, what is happening now? How did I spend all of this money? So you need to like keep to be sane, just like have a spreadsheet or something, so it gives you mental view as to this is exactly how much I'm spending every month, and you can know where money is going to. I don't buy takeouts most of the time. Like, I really don't fancy it. It's only once in a while, so it was never really my own, like, it was never a problem on my side that I have to like buy takeout. So, and Corona is also, I mean, it's not good, but I don't go to school again, and I don't have to buy coffee or anything, so I'm always in my room. And so yeah, but that's the only practical tip I would tell you, is that if you're you have to be very conscious. Like I said, this Euro thing is very funny. It goes fast. So have a spreadsheet most likely, and try to like track the way you're spending. And if you need to pay back some money, know how you will get the money. Like, what do you need to cut down to be able to get that money paid, refunded? So yeah, money.
Thanks, Ajay. Yeah, that was helpful. I was just gonna remind everyone, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat. We may not be able to create enough room for live Q&A. I also posted a link to Numpio that can help you understand cost of living in different European cities. You may find that helpful as well. Ufuoma, how did you keep your costs low when you were a student? Can you give some tips as well?
Yeah, of course. So a lot has been said already. So for me, the single most effective tip I know of to keep your costs low is where you live. right? So in Germany, I guess it's the same with most European cities. Like the bulk of your expenses comes from your rent, right? So the first thing, like choosing where you live, like the city you live in, can make a big difference. If you live in, so Teju talked about a lot about Saarbrücken, for example. If you live in Saarbrücken, housing is very cheap. So she said she can get an apartment for 260 euros. Maybe you can even get less. Yeah, but in some cities, for example, if you want to study in München, well, yeah, you probably use your entire monthly remittance from a block account for your rent, right? But at the same time, you also need a balance between some cities that are very cheap and the ones that are expensive, because if you go to some cities that are really very cheap, they are cheap for a reason. It's probably cheap because no one wants to live there. And if no one wants to live there, maybe there are no jobs there. Then you cannot get a work as a student. So you need to find a balance, right? So you can do a lot of savings on your accommodation. So it also helps, for example, if you live in student communities. So a lot of student apartments are subsidized. A lot of students don't know this when they came in. When I got into Germany, I didn't know this, that student apartments are actually cheaper than going to the general market to look for houses. So you can look for apartments that are specifically built for students. And there are many subsidies you can get. For example, you can save cost on things like internet. You know, if you live separately, then you have to take care of your internet cost, and this can easily become expensive. You can also save costs like heating, water, and all of this stuff. So if you are living in student apartments, all of this cost is subsidized already for you. Yeah, but if you go to the open market, then you have to take care of your internet, your water, your heating, and yeah, and I mean, this can really get very high. So living around students helps a lot. Shopping in discounters also help. Like, so in Germany, for example, there are different kind of shops, right? So
yeah, there's also
yeah.
going down and select. I was
Yeah, true. Yeah,
Don't,
exactly. Yeah. So you can get some clothes, for example, winter clothes, stuff like this, cheaper in some places. I remember when I just got to Germany, I was very naive. I didn't really know much about this, so I went to get some jackets. I was surprised why they were so expensive, like 300 euros or something like this. Some of them I'm still using to today. So yeah, but you can go to cheaper shops, and it really helps if you ask, especially students. Yeah, because the reason I didn't know is because the kind of persons I asked were not students. I just asked my landlord, where can I get a jacket? And he told me, please go to Cash that to get a jacket. Okay, so I went there and everything was expensive. Exactly, but it also goes with grocery shopping. So there are cheaper shops. You should look for them, like instead of going to the high-end shops. Yeah, so there are always these shops around where you would live.
Yeah, I think that's really helpful actually. So there are two questions that I don't think we've answered that I'm gonna have us take before we take the last question. So there's one from Beluatife Ogundeyi, saying, hi there, Teju. Any suggestions for a final year student in computer science looking forward to a master's in DS/machine learning somewhere in EU? Any pointers for universities offering scholarship you can recommend for me to look into? I'm looking forward to preparing now, as I'm currently exploring deep learning with some free courses on YouTube and Udacity. Teju, is there anything specific that you want to share with this person?
Oh yeah. Thanks for the question. So I was not paying a lot of attention. I saw the question earlier. Any point as University of French scholarship you can recommend? I mean, everything that we have been saying, right? Like it depends. So just recently, if you're targeting Canadian University, there are two type of degrees. You can go for thesis based or course based. If you're targeting thesis based, then you need to target the professor. So just like I said, so that is your surest way to get funding. Professors, Canadian University, Canada itself, like the Prime Minister, they are showering all of those institutions with a lot of money these days, especially when it comes to machine learning and AI. So the professors have a lot of funding and they would like to get students. So if they like what you're doing, maybe you already have some experience or thesis, like research experience. So I think that if you reach out to professor, they usually respond. And I know of people from my colleagues from AISS Lagos that got like PhD to Canada from microbiology. Sorry, too much information that they have not said it before. But anyway, from whatever they are doing to just directly into bachelor's into PhD. I did not even know that. I used to hear that it's possible, but until I saw that my person got like into different universities with fully funded PhD application. And it's because the person has a lot of experience now and from research, from work. So I'm saying that anything is possible. There was also another person that got into a Canadian university, like one of the like top schools with full funding. It's also thesis based, and it's the professor that wanted him as well. You understand what I'm trying to say? So if you're looking for thesis based, like you have to look for the professors, make sure that what you're already doing, like you have, like you've taken a lot of courses, right? You know what you want to research, like and then they're happy to have you as their students. So any point as university. So that is for Canadian university. For course based, you need to look at the school. Really, you have to look at the school, like what can they, like what can they, like what sort of scholarship is available. And of course it will be competitive, but it does not mean that you cannot get it. It's anything is possible. That's my mantra. I'm looking forward to preparing. I'm explaining deep learning. Yeah, so definitely you should continue to explore courses. Like before I got to school, like I organized the AISS Lagos. I took a lot of courses. I'm still taking courses even while in school, like external courses. So always those would always help you, because it helps you, it buffers your hard, more things to your skills. And you need that thing because school is hard. You probably know that by now. So all of the skills you can get is very, very helpful, especially when if you know what you want to do and what you want to specialize in. So did I answer your question? I hope I did. In case.
Yeah, I think that was really helpful. I think the rest of the questions we can just monitor the chat and put some response in there. The last bit that we will be chatting about, which I'm sure everyone is going to have lots of input on, is your post-study options. A general question that keeps coming is, do I have to return back to Nigeria after my program? What opportunities are available after my program? How do I prepare for them while studying? Does the university support you post-study? What are your chances of getting a job, right? So everyone is going to have some input on this, and I think it will be tailored to your different experiences as well, because you do have different journeys when it comes to studying in the EU. So I'm going to start with Yeti.
Okay, yeah, this is one I was actually looking forward to, because number one of the ways I went for the countries that I decided to apply to was, do they allow post-study visa? So as we all know, the Great Britain, they just started it. They stopped it before. So I was not really looking into UK. From number one, you collect all my pound, all my money, big money. After that, you now chase me back to Nigeria. It's not possible. I have to gain that money back. So UK was not part of, it was not really an option for me, because I wanted to get some experience while after my post-study. So you also have to look for this country that I want to aim for. Do they allow me? Of course, Britain allow you because of the Brexit, and now they are very hungry for students. So they allow you to stay 2 years, and from there people just extend their visa and all of that. But yeah, that's one thing you want to look for. So I made sure that I was sure of that Italy, they allow you stay after your study, and I think it's 2 years, although my own case is different. So I thought I was going to stay in Italy and all of that, but after I got there, so I'll be very frank, even though I've said a lot of good things about studying in Italy, I'll be very frank and say you should prepare your mind that job opportunities are not that very vast. From what I've heard from Ufuoma and Tejumade, it seems Germany has a more vibrant job placements. But in Italy, they pride a lot in their language. So if you want to come and you don't I was actually not really interested in learning the language as well. So that's my own decision, and I get to bear the consequence anyway. So you have to think about that, like the language barrier in some of these countries. So some of you may not go to Italy, you may not go to Germany, but you need to understand, where you're going, the language spoken, and if it is a barrier to you getting job opportunities. Like for Italy, you need it. Even you wonder that, or even as a tech, because I know there are people here who are not in the tech space, right? And I would say it's even harder for people like that, because at least in the tech space, it's very rare for you to find someone who is a programmer who doesn't even speak English, because even all of the programming languages, most of the programming languages are written in English. So somehow you will know a bit of English, but I discovered that even with that, the Italian companies, most of them wanted people who can speak their language. So that's something you have to bear in mind. How do I prepare for them while studying? So one thing that people don't know is that, I think Tejo has said it earlier, they are Erasmus exchange. So when I came to Italy, and after spending 1 year, I found out that, I don't think I really have an opportunity here. So I started looking into Erasmus exchange, and Erasmus exchange is within the EU. So you can go to Sweden, or you go to Germany, or you go to the UK and all of that. So I started looking into UK. And now I work with a university here in the UK, and how that journey started was as a result of me making that bold step of going as an exchange student. So I did my thesis, my master's thesis with this particular professor, and there was an opening in the lab, and that's actually how I got a job before I even finished, my master's studies. So you have to look outside of the box of where, what are the opportunities here and what are the opportunities I can get outside of here. There are things like, so I have colleagues who finished their masters in the US and they got a job after that. So there are exchange programs that take you to different parts of the world, even China. And the professors will usually send it to you. They'll usually send emails out like, oh, this particular school is looking for exchange student. If you want to apply, let us know. And I mean, so many people that I know that apply for that usually get it. So that's one way you can expand your territory, looking outside of where you are, and like, can I get a job outside this space? Especially if, so for me, maybe I had pride, I don't know, but I was not ready to really, I was not ready to really learn the language. I'm like, I'm leaving this place. It's English I want to speak, finish, finito, in my Italian language. So you have to think about that. If you want to learn the language, yes, you get the job opportunities. I have people who know the language quite well and they got the job, they got jobs after their study. But for me, I already knew that this language, I don't have anything to do with it. So I started looking outside of the box. So what are your chances? Like I said, it's just you looking outside of your territory, finding out opportunities, writing emails to, or yeah, like for my professor, for example, it was not just, I just came across him and that was how I got the job. I was actually, searching all over the, like UK university. I was particular about, is this UK I want to go? So I just fixed my eye on it and I was applying to so many universities, talking to the professors by emails. And fortunately, I got like a lot of responses, and then I decided to go for my professor. I didn't even know that he was going to give me a job offer, after my university. So yeah, these are things you have to look at. Another thing, I think that's the last one before I forget, is there's something called free mover. Now, free mover, so for the Erasmus exchange, when you go as an Erasmus student, they give you stipend. So wherever you are going, Erasmus will give you money for your accommodation and for your feeding. So that's another way to actually get funding. So if you know that, oh, I'm not getting funding in other ways, they pay you for leaving your comfort zone to say, I want to go and do my semester in another place. So they give you money, and there you can find more opportunities. But there's something also called free mover. So let's say you don't have the option of Erasmus, you can go as a free mover. And free mover means that, oh, you want to come to the UK and finish your last semester with a university here. The only but there is that they don't give you funding. So Erasmus now is governed by a body, and they give you money for traveling out of your space for that exchange. But as a free mover, it's more like you didn't get Erasmus, and it's something that free mover is not this university do it, or it's something across education. Of course, in Africa, we don't have something like that, but you can decide to say, even within Italy, you can decide to say, I don't want to school here in this university. I want to go to another university in Italy to finish my studies. So they allow that. It's a very flexible system here abroad. So for example, if it's US, you really want to go, and maybe there was no opportunity for you to go to the US, you can decide by yourself to say, I want to go to the US for my last semester, and you go there on your own funding. So, because I know there are people who don't want to apply to EU, their eye is fixed on Canada or UK. And I used to say, you can start from a low funding place where you don't really have to put much money into your feeding and all. You can start with a low funding place. And at the last semester, you can decide to go to this big, your Canada or your US or your Australia or New Zealand that you want to go and finish up there. And from there, because when you're going there, you're going to apply for their student. It's usually student visa you apply for. So you go there as a student and you have access to as someone who has started at the beginning. So those are things that you need to look out for as well. Then I hope I've answered, because I think I just put everything, all opportunities. Yeah, and also schools usually, tell you. So I remember after my graduation, they actually used to send emails to me. There's this opening, there's this job fair or something like that. Schools usually put that out. But I think at the end of the day, you just want to make sure you open your net out to as many opportunities that you can find, and you can always streamline to what you want afterwards.
That was really detailed and helpful. I mean, I didn't know I could go to Italy first and move to the US. If I knew that, I probably have chosen to do that first before going to the UK. So based on your own experience, especially since you're still in the program, what do you think about chances of getting a job after, and how are you preparing for that while you're studying?
Yeah, for me, I've been trying to develop myself in terms of like research, because I'm interested in research. So my focus has been working on research, trying to like be a part of the research lab, which I think that's why I'm a part of the lab in like Professor Pepano's lab, the Clever Hands lab. So that's sort of like my way of trying to make sure that I, like, by the time I'm done with school, there's already something I want to do. I'm doing, because I already started doing my master's. It's not the same for everyone, but I'm interested in pursuing my PhD, and I know that in order for me to be able to do that, I need to be strong technically, and I need to be like, I need to have experience to make my life easier when I finish my master's, to be able to get into this course. So I see my time with the lab as interning, or like just practicing for what lies ahead. So definitely, like I mean, do I have to return back? I don't think so. I mean, you're smart, right? Depends on what you want to do. If you want to return back, you can return back. But if you want to, like Yeti said, see, don't limit yourself. Don't put limitation where there is none. You don't have to, like, if you feel like you want to go somewhere, like you can move from Italy to the US, or from the US to Italy, depending on what you want. Just do your research, ask questions, reach out. One of the things that we don't really know how to do, I don't know, maybe you know how to do it, but is that we are not used to this culture of sending emails or like asking questions. We think that there are some things you don't ask or something, but here they actually, like they inquire a lot. So you can always email them, the university, or like ask what options are available or whatnot. And before you know it, you actually get more than what you want. So the opportunities that are available after your program, really, my opinion is that there are lots of opportunities that are available after your program, but it's your decision as to how prepared have you made yourself, and or like, what is your goal? So my friend, when she finished her master's, I think she applied to over, I can't remember, but maybe like more than 20, more than 30, like job, like after school. Like she was actually with me for a few months while she was waiting to get the job, like the job she was looking for, and she eventually got a job in the city that she wanted. You get what I'm trying to say? So you can, like, I mean, once you have a master's, like your edge cannot be the same again after you finish the school and everything. So there's no way you will not get a job or something. So that's what I think. And how do you prepare for them? Like I said, you have to start factoring it in during your studies. Like, I need this skill. This is what I want to do afterwards. Which courses should I be taking? At least that is how I approach mine. And I'm lucky that in University of Zeeland, you can cherry pick courses because I'm interested in machine learning. So a lot of my courses are like machine learning based and everything, even though my program is computer science. So I know I just have a specific credit points, like before I can graduate, I need to meet up with this credit point, but you can pick any course that you want. So I pick, if I'm doing a research in audio now, I'm looking at, hey, what course can I use to support this and everything? You know, sometimes it does not work, but that is how I've approached my own learning experience and like my learning journey. And yeah, does university support you post-study? I really don't know. Like, I'm still in school. Maybe it does. Maybe I have to check. I'm not sure. What are your chances of getting a job? Yeah, I think I also touched on that. Maybe Ufuoma, do you know, does Zeeland support you post-study? I'm not sure what that's like.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they offer a lot of job fairs, first of all. So you can attend some of these career fairs.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, they offer a lot of job. Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah, there's a lot of job career shop where they invite a lot of companies, and then they also even share your CV, and the companies can reach out to you if they like your profile. To want to, yes, you're right. I've not attended one before. Maybe that's why I didn't. But I did receive an email about it sometimes ago.
Yeah, that was really helpful as well. What are your thoughts? I mean, I know you did not return back to Nigeria, so how was that experience for you? And if you would answer this, what would your answer be?
Okay, so yes, indeed, there are a lot of opportunities available after your studies. So again, I know Germany more. So in Germany, for example, I guess most of the participants, as I saw, they want to do a master's degree. Master's degree is very, very valuable in Germany, right? So it's considered as an advanced degree. So a lot of companies they seek master degree holders. And how you prepare, for me, the single most effective way I can think of preparing for looking for a job is, what I used to do is to look at people that are ahead of me, right? How did they get their jobs? What are they doing, right? So anything I tell you now is probably going to be obsolete by the time you finish your master's degree. Yeah, but you look at people that are maybe 1 year or 2 years ahead of you, and see where they are working, see the kind of jobs they are doing, and see how they apply for the jobs. That has always helped me, right? So, and you should be rest assured that there's a very high chance of getting a job, especially when you're in the STEM disciplines. In Germany is very technologically advanced, so there are a lot of jobs, and even also for non-STEM disciplines. It helps to speak the language. Yeah, so maybe at a lot of entry-level jobs for STEM jobs, for example, software development, engineering, you probably don't need the language as such. But as you go higher, you realize that you need the language. Yeah. And especially for non-STEM disciplines, especially when you have to deal with people, when you have to work with people. For example, if you work in the humanities, then you need the language. You need to speak the language. So even if your program, your program is offered in English completely, most programs, they offer you a chance to learn German or to learn the language, local language. So you should take this opportunity. Take it seriously, learn the language, no matter how basic it is, learn it. It'll be a springboard for you later. Yeah. Then also check, like you should also already, even while you're studying, already start looking at job advertisement to see what they require. One mistake a lot of people make is that when they're looking for jobs, they always look for like jobs, maybe very, very similar to what they studied. So for example, maybe you're studying machine learning or something like this, then you are looking for a job with machine learning on the title. In reality, it's not always like that. I mean, in research, yes, it's usually like this, that you find You can actually target the research in a particular topic. Yeah, but when you go to the industry, it's not always like that. So typically you work on products that sell, right? So your job, you have to be tailored to what the company wants, right? So you should keep this in mind that, well, you might not get a like-for-like job eventually. So it helps to think about what people ahead of you are doing, have internships. So if you work as a student, you get a chance sometimes, if you're lucky, to work in the industry. But you can also do internships. So in Germany, there's this concept of voluntary internships, right? So there are internships that are mandatory that you must do as part of your studies. Depends on if your course offers this. Voluntary internships, anyone can do. So with voluntary internship, you work maybe in a company, maybe for about 6 months, and get a feel of what the company offers, right? So this would augment your experience and also help you when you're applying for a job in the future. Yeah. So I guess that answers most of the questions.
Yes, it does. I mean, that's a good point about the voluntary internships, and also the kind of look how you have to start doing while studying. So that's the last question we have. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do Q&A. I think we did answer the questions that came in through chat. Any last words, Yeti, Teju, Ufuoma, before we round this up? Any final piece of advice from anyone?
The world is your oyster. Go forth.
I said piece of advice, not aspire.
I'm sorry. It's like, go forth. Why do you do that now? It's not fair. Yeah, I mean, some advice is just that, like, just apply. To be honest, there's a lot of opportunity abroad. I do not regret my decision to come abroad. I've learned a lot within the past 1 year that I might not have learned if I was back in Nigeria. You get, this thing where you think that you are somebody. Well, when you actually you get into it, and then
They
you
humble you.
yeah, your potential, there's still a lot to get out of it. You get humble, like, okay, maybe. So as I was saying, the thing is that there's a lot of opportunity abroad. You need to, don't stop trying to find those opportunities. And once you're a factor of, once you get this opportunity, you get to be able to touch other people's life as well, right? So don't, the fact that you're on this call is because you're privileged to have seen something related to it. Not everyone would have had access to this information. So it will be really, to not be the best, to not continue to apply. You need to, share the slides, you understand? Just apply, continue to apply, don't stop. If you and it does not just have to be schools, right? There's opportunity in terms of job, especially in Canada and UK. It doesn't have to be just school. If you don't want to go to school again, it's okay, but just there are other opportunities that you can get abroad. And yeah, I think you should maximize that if you can, if you're in the position to do that, or even share the information with others.
So if anyone is considering admission in Italy, that's Yeti just posted a handle on Twitter. Follow her, spam her DM with messages. She's gonna answer anytime you reach out to her. So very big thank you to Tejumade. I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name. Ufuoma and Oluwatoyin. This was really good. It was really good talking to everyone, and I hope people were able to learn a lot from this. I'm going to be sharing a recording of this via my Twitter and also via Yeti's Twitter, or via email. I think we still have emails of people who joined this call, so we're going to share the recording as well. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining, and thank you to our lovely panelists for spending time with us as well.
Thank you, everyone. I hope
thanks.
Everything we said is useful or is helpful to you, and all the best in your future application or whatever you want to do, future endeavors.
All right.
Thank you.